Have you ever liked something so much and it's so good you want to talk about it with everyone you come across, but at the same time you can't because no one will ever have any idea of what you're talking about? Yeah, that's how I feel about I don't know how.
Why do I have to spend all day down here? It's just a bunch of old junk.
Exactly. It's been sitting down there for too long collecting dust. I want it organized and cleaned up, and you're gonna stay down there until it's done.
I love you.
I don't know how, but they found me. Wow, that's a long ass name for a band. I know. I thought the same thing when I first found them. But contrary to popular belief, this name doesn't come out of nowhere. It actually is a reference. More on that later. This band was formed in 2016 by Dallon Weeks and Ryan Seaman. If the names sound familiar, it's because they are. Dallon is a former member of Panic! At the Disco. Ryan is a former member of Falling in Reverse. They started performing shows in secret around 2016 and 2017 when they decided to part ways with their former bands and come together as I Don't Know How officially in late 2017. I really don't want to spend a lot of time talking about their past projects, or at least not more than necessary. So let's make this as short as possible. Dallon had a band called the TELLEXX and actively participated in it from 2002 to 2013. He was hired as a tour bassist for Panic! At the Disco around 2009. Then he was invited to be a more official member around 2010 and 2011. He conceptualized the cover of Vices and Virtues and was featured in it. And he's also credited in all but 2 songs of Too Weird to Live, Too Rare to Die. His status changed back in 2015 because he was no longer part of the creative process. On the other hand, Ryan's been working with different projects since 2002, like I Am Ghost in 2005 and The Bigger Lights in 2009. At one point, he even played for the THELLEXX. He then joined Falling in Reverse in 2011, but he left in 2017 to be part of I Don't Know How full time. Now, with the backstory out of the way, let's get into the lore. I Don't Know How is weird in a sense. Let me explain. When Dallon and Ryan first started, they did a couple concerts here and there, but the existence of the band itself was kept secret, and the content you could find about them online was insanely limited. There's a few reasons why they might not be that well known, is because maybe 1, they weren't signed in any label, 2, the 1981 EP didn't exist until 2018, and 3, the kind of vibe, aesthetic, whatever they chose is not that common, so to say. Also, they went hard as fuck on the concept of the band that doesn't exist, and they even denied their own existence for a while and didn't post about the concerts anywhere. But whether that worked or not, it's up for debate. There's also the concept of timeless band that you probably find out about while exploring your parents' old VHS tapes. They're incredibly unique is what I'm trying to say. Each song is a weird combo of different musical movements from the 60s, 70s, and 80s that somehow work, and my god, it fucking slaps. There are 3 main things I want to talk about in reference to their music, and that is the 1981 EP, Razzmatazz, and how are they both connected to the story they are trying to build. Because yes, there's a story. I wasn't expecting one either, but here we are. I unintentionally fell down a rabbit hole of lore while trying to write about my favorite bands, and I had so many questions. Why is Dallon acting like a robot? What's up with Ryan's deadpan stare that pierces directly into your soul and judges all of your sins? Why is a white guy with a mask in every video just vibing? What is TELLEXX? And why are they trying to silence the user search party? For my own peace of mind and in search of some answers, I've decided to dive in and see what I could find. The first place we're gonna look at is not YouTube, surprisingly, but I don't know how's official website. This site is quite simple. It has some YouTube videos on the top, a guest book with some comments, and a section called Video Diary Entries with 6 links. We'll check those out in a second. The video at the top is called Search Party Conspiracy, and basically tells us how this person found a bunch of VHS tapes in their parents' basement in 1992 with footage of different performances of this band nobody's ever heard about. I don't know how. These videos seem odd since each performance seems to be filmed in a completely different decade. While one video appears to be from the mid-60s or late 70s, another one looks like it could have been perfectly filmed today. But the band members always remain the same, but the weirdness doesn't even stop at that inconsistent timeline. The name TELLEXX is constantly thrown around as part of these recordings, as well as some mysterious figures that Search Party decided to call the White Shadows. Search Party turned for the internet to help, hoping to find any information, I don't know how, what happened to them, or how TELLEXX was involved. But their website was shut down in 1996. Now they've recovered the website after many years, or like most of it, and we might discover what TELLEXX was trying so desperately to hide. Something along the lines of what they call thought reform and personality analysis. The investigation becomes more difficult when Search Party develops the feeling of being watched, and that their memory and sense of understanding are being blocked. The timeline of the tapes doesn't make sense either, and soon their paranoia starts taking a turn for the worse, and this is where the video files start getting corrupted. On the 6th video entry, Search Party explains how they woke up on the floor, all their files wiped out, with a message on their computer screen, discouraging them to continue their investigation. They state their suspicions about TELLEXX's stress test having something to do with them passing out, and then the entry saying, "My mind feels foggy, as if someone is reading me." Returning to the website, the page also has a couple of comments below the guest book corroborating the information in the video diary entries.
TELLEXX appears to have been a pseudo-governmental corporation that was publicly active for a brief period of time in the early 1960s. After 1977, it appears that they shut down and vanished completely.
Interesting video. I remember my dad talking about a band he once knew with a really long name he couldn't remember. He was institutionalized several years ago after swearing that he was being followed by a white shadow. No idea what he meant.
Fake.
Hey, Search Party. I've been looking into I Don't Know How in TELLEXX. Information is really scarce. Anytime I find something that could be relevant, it seems to vanish. And I swear I've seen that white figure before.
In accordance with Section 512F of the DMCA, this page has been shut down due to false claims.
I don't know about you, but this last comment is sus. Because as we saw in earlier comments, TELLEXX allegedly disappeared around 1977. So for what reason would that corporation from the late 70s be on some random conspiracy website in 1996 and try to shut it down using DMCA laws, specifically using the section about copyright infringement using false claims? Oh, and you know what's even weirder? The DMCA wasn't passed until 1998. I mean, a few seconds ago we saw the comment was posted in 1996. It would have made perfect sense if it used the WIPO Copyright Treaty of 1996, but instead they used an act that didn't even exist yet. We have two possible theories for this. One, there's some sort of mistake and they got their own dates wrong, which is extremely boring and disappointing, and it wouldn't align with the established concept that timelines don't make sense in this universe. Or two, there's some time traveling shit going on, and honestly it makes more sense. Remember how Isaiah explained the meaning of "I don't know how but they found me" later? Well, now it's later. Turns out the name's actually a direct quote from 1985's movie Back to the Future.
Oh my God, they found me. I don't know how, but they found me.
For those who aren't familiar, Back to the Future's entire plot revolves around time travel. Marty McFly accidentally travels 30 years to the past and must find his way back to his own time. Dallin mentioned that this quote is the main inspiration for naming the band, since is a phrase he fell in love with a movie that's very close to his heart. So yeah, it absolutely tracks that I don't know how storyline includes time travel. The best example of this theory is the found footage style of the music videos, which we'll talk about right now. To make everything a little bit easier, I decided to analyze the videos in the order they were uploaded. So the first video is Modern Day Cain. Something important to note about the music videos is that many times the video description will include important information we need to consider. It's mostly information about how the footage was found, but here's what this one says.
IDK performance from the cable access series Superstar Showcase 1983.
I can't do much with that, honestly. It appears that Superstar Showcase was a low-budget, localized, public access cable program that presented different kinds of talent shows and all that. But we can only speculate at this point. What is indeed strange is the band's behavior throughout the video. Dallin swings back and forth between acting like a robot and flailing wildly, and Ryan seems to be giving himself a concussion with the drums, or maybe he's having the time of his life, who knows? Well, I can't confirm nor deny that the movement in Dallin's legs are normal, since I'm not a tall, lanky bassist. His facial expressions and upper body movements can absolutely be considered extra. Listen, I know lead singers tend to act up when they're given a live performance is part of the job description. However, I don't think this is the organic way to do this. Dallin's body language in general is very robotic. He doesn't appear to have much control of his own movements, and you can see that by the way he's playing the bass and how he grabs his hair. There's some other things I could go on about, but for the sake of time, let's move on to the next video. This time, the video has a little bit more information in the description, and it says,
IDKHOW community talent show performance circa mid-1983. This particular tape, marked only as Bowling League Tournament, was recovered from the North Davis County Library basement archives in the late 90s. Its origin is uncertain.
First thing to note here, Dallon's fit is insanely like the sparkly one at the end of modern day Cain. Maybe it's more of a makeup thing, but still. I would say it's the formal version of that same outfit. But as for the cast of this video, we have Piano Grandma on the left, Ryan on the right, Dallon in the middle, and on the back we have a white shadow awkwardly standing there acting as a stagehand. There's not much to add except that Dallon keeps acting up during his performance. However, his movements are a little bit more on the nervous side and not on the I'm not in control of my own movements kind of thing. I don't know, it's maybe the dark circles under his eyes. Near the end of the song, Ryan leaves the stage and joins the audience, who start throwing things at the stage and booing them. Dallon turns around to the white shadow, who shakes their head, and Dallon looks extremely disappointed. And with that, the videotape ends. In interviews, Dallon has talked about how the meaning of the song being about giving new things a chance, and he sincerely agreed, and before long, I Don't Know How came with the first EP.
We invite you to follow along. And as always, when you hear this sound, turn the page. Now, let's begin.
Now we're getting into the good stuff. The 1981 EP was officially released in 2018 with 5 songs plus the introduction, and a total of 3 music videos. Honestly, this EP is the best way to reintroduce someone to I Don't Know How. Hell, I was introduced to I Don't Know How through this EP. Spotify kept recommending it for about 3 weeks. I was curious, I decided to click on it, and it was the best decision I've ever made in my life. I honestly believe most of fans found them through this EP, and let's not forget that it was basically their express ticket to being signed and getting Razzmatazz produced. In summary, it's amazing, go listen to it, appreciate it, hold it gently. Now onto the music videos.
Greatest achievements is quickly becoming more popular with each passing day. We invite you to follow along as our scientists work to conceive of a future where music is created not by man, but by machine.
The first video we get is Do It All the Time, that dropped on October 11, 2018, and the description goes as follows.
This footage was first thought to be a conceptual art piece produced by the band before making music videos, had become standard music industry practice. While the exact date and circumstance under which it was produced are unclear, the anonymous donor of the footage claimed it had been screened for students for nearly 20 years as part of a public school curriculum, until its use was discontinued in 1984.
The video starts with an opening card, basically explaining who produced the tape, which are Corporation for Public TV and Radio Transmission, Temporal Performing Arts, and TELLEXX Foundation International. When I mean TELLEXX everywhere, it's because you're everywhere. At the bottom, it has a text in a language I don't recognize. Hi, hello, Editing Mary here. Apparently it's Icelandic, yeah. I'm just stupid. Anyway, let's continue. And it's frustrating because no one in the comments had translated it yet, so maybe someone did, but I just missed it. But anyway, the little title card has a voice enough, basically explaining how math is wonderful and how machines can create music because of it. Not that I would know, because I don't know math. The video indeed follows the aesthetic of an educational video from the mid to late 60s, and the video starts with a machine that activates different sound effects, and then we see Dallon and Ryan playing along different robots powered by a single computer. I want to point out that Dallon keeps acting robotic, and while Deadpanning all throughout the entire video, Ryan is still the most human part of it, at least for the most part. The music continues, Alan has a short circuit at the drop, and we see a single frame of the white shadow before returning our focus to the computer. A little thing that I noticed while playing the video on loop so I wouldn't miss anything for this analysis is how the lyrics are strictly related to the theme of the song. Something we've seen only in maybe Nobody Likes the Opening Band. There's a person on YouTube that says the song itself is mocking how nowadays pop music is made. Something created and designed, mathematically designed to follow the market trends and get money. Something that most of the time is soulless, artificial, made like machines. Then the video ends with the computer catching fire, the robots catching fire, Dallin having another short circuit, and the ending shot is both Dallin and Ryan posing obviously there as everything is in flames. Mood.
I don't know how I got here. Con el nuovo singolo, show.
The description for Chuck brings us from the 60s straight to the 80s.
Pop Time Live was a short-lived music television program that aired briefly in Eastern Europe in the early 1980s. The show and its producers had hoped to capitalize on the then popular Italo disco movement, but audiences found its lack of authenticity objectionable. Labeled not for broadcast, it is believed that this particular IDKHOW performance never made it to air due to the band's refusal to properly pantomime to their own song.
Aside from the host getting the name of the band wrong during the introduction,
I don't know how I got here.
The beginning of this tape seems like one of the most ordinary of the bunch, if that makes sense. It's just some band presentation that never made to air, like, apparently. Then the show got Dallin's name wrong, and I took that personally. We see Ryan's deathbed stare again, life is good, Dallin acts more natural and relaxed than the other videos, but then we see them.
There he is! There's my favorite white boy!
I've watched the video at least 5 times in loop, and I still don't get how it is that the people who are hired to be in this show look like they'd rather be home. Like, they look so goddamn bored. This is obviously fake. Like, this song is a banger. Why would you prefer to be home doing something else than listening to them play or just enjoying this absolutely incredible song? Like, no wonder this program failed. It's fake as fuck. Anyway, Dallin sticks a guitar pick to his forehead because of course he does. And then whoop! There's the white shadow again. As it sparingly makes an appearance in different shots, the band name gets spam across the screen, and then the video ends shortly after with a nice shot of Dallin choking himself with the mic cable. Fitting. And also that's followed by the fakest applause in fake TV show history. Nice! On to the next video.
Thought Reform was a series of corporate propaganda films produced and distributed by TELLEXX International before their sudden dissolution in the late 1970s. This is believed to be the only remaining copy in the series. The rest have been lost to time.
Alright, we're getting into good stuff. The video starts with an intro card and with the title, "The TELLEXX Foundation presents Thought Reform and the Corporate Guide of Social Reconditioning." At the bottom, we have the main credits, the symbol that basically represents I don't know how, a bunch of text in another language I can't recognize, and the Roman numerals that read 1977, which I believe is the date the video was made. This time, our boys are in a thought reform facility, I think. And the video is basically propaganda, as the description says. They play in the background of a fancy party, with fancy people walk down the fancy stairs of the fancy house. And while observing Dallin's attitude, I noticed that it still can be considered kinda off, but it's way more subtle than any other videos. Like, take choke, but toned down. Like, that makes sense. I noticed that in the scenes where Dallin wears a suit, he's also wearing a medal. And he's the only one wearing a medal in the entire video. I'll let sit that for a whole second. I actually don't know what this means. As for the white shadow, yes, they make an appearance, but another detail worth mentioning is the green drinks people are holding. Because it's absinthe. Absinthe, aside from being a song from this EP and a banger song, is an alcoholic beverage, usually green, that allegedly is a highly addictive psychoactive drink that was rumored to cause hallucinations, and for that it was banned for multiple countries around the 1900s. Like, the allegations were later disproven or marked as exaggerated because apparently in real life it does all what a normal alcoholic drink does, but it didn't have another boom until the 90s. Anyway, this video gives me major secret society / cult vibes. Onto the next topic.
Hey guys, it's Editing Mary here. Thank you so much for watching this video. It took a very long time to put together, and as you can see, I'm very nervous all throughout the thing. This is part 1. I hope I finish part soon. I hope I finish part 2 soon, because my god, this is a lot, and like the entirety of this video is over 25 minutes. So like, give it a like and subscribe. It took a lot of work. I'm planning on doing more videos and more projects, and yeah, thank you so much for being here, and I guess I'll see you later.